Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the closing acumen. I know we've been off and on for a couple of weeks, uh, but we are back. Hopefully, we'll be coming to you on a bigger note next week. But we just thought it wise to just come today and tomorrow and just to update you with some of the happenings in Monrovia. So it's good to be back. Hopefully, we'll be joined by other guest panelists and panelists. Tomalin George is still in Liberia. His mom had a surgery today, so he will not be joining us. Tomalin is generally visiting with his mom at the hospital. So we want to wish her speedy recovery and wish her all the best. Uh, Keff Hassan and others will be joining us as well. Jackie and some guest panelists. The happening in Liberia. So we'd like to welcome all our viewers. I know we've been off for some time, and so you guys have not been able to reach us, but we want to welcome all our guests. We ask you to just share the show, keep sharing the show. We want to welcome Katale Tobagi. Kitile Tobagi, he's watching from Baltimore. Welcome. Alaska Pay, he's watching from Painesville. Emmanuel Mo, John Tukba Wright, and Emmanuel Abu Johnson. So we are here tonight. It's been interesting. The election has been taking place in Liberia. We have seen surprises. Some no surprise at all, but there's a lot of surprises. The election commission. It appears that we will be heading directly to second round election, second round in this whole election, and it's going to be interesting. All the political parties are gearing up, but technically, we see that the CDC leads by a few margin currently, and it's going to be interesting. So we ask you to, if you're watching the show, to share it. Mr. Edwin Cry, yes, sir. I'm back, sir. Just please share for us. We have Felix Deconti Jones. He's watching from all the way the UK. Mohammed Isa Dolly from Minnesota. Yes, we are on Truth FM, Hot FM, and also we'll be joined by Mr. Winfred Russell, who will be joining us as well. So we would like to invite you. We're going to be here for at least an hour and 45 minutes today. So we ask you to sit back, relax as we enjoy the show. Who's there? Henry. Is Henry there? At the backstage. Is that Arthur or Henry? Arthur, can you come up? But as stated, we might likely be heading for a second round. The CDC and the Unity Party. They may be they will be going into the second round of this all important election. So uh, uh, we're looking forward to a great show. One of our panelists join us, Jackie. I believe that I haven't heard from Jackie. I'm not sure she's going to be coming on. Keff Hassan probably busy. He's working, and Ben Sanvee as well. So Tomalin George is in Liberia. His mom had a surgery today, so he probably be watching from the back. He's not here yet. But interestingly, folks, the election uh, has been very. We saw a lot of surprises. We saw some big names that will not be returning to the Liberian Senate. In fact, I believe that is uh, I have a list of those who will be returning. So I'm going to read that to you uh, uh, in a moment. There's a list, and there are some big names that will who will not be returning. But Vonnie Sherman will not be returning as well, and I believe our good friend. Representative Gray did not make it. Apparently will not be returning as well. But there are other names that will not be returning, and we saw some surprises who won. In Bassa, okay, Johnny will be joining. In Bassa, we saw former pro tem Western Got Finley is back in the Senate. We saw also Alex Dollar, former speaker, won in Bowman County. Uh, Interesting. Nema County, we saw Prince Johnson is one. And in Monserrate County, we saw a tsunami defeat by Senator Sad Joseph. I mean, he won with like 300 or more, 300, almost 400,000 votes. So it's interesting. There's a lot happening, and we are looking forward to bring it to you. Beginning Monday, we're going to bring in some. We'll be joined by some of the Batelia Ure, Henry Costa, Ase Jackson. Others will be joining us. So this is, folks, hang up. We hang around. We are here. We're going to bring it to you. Uh, uh, yeah, some of the names of the outgoing legislators. We have the former speaker, Buffer Chimers. He did not make it. Moses Akaris Gray. He did not. Solomon George did not. C.B. Bashel did not. Lawrence Morris did not. Roslyn Swakoko Dennis, she did not make it. Jimmy Smith, he did not. Johnson Wekru, he did not make it as well. Marma B. Fufana, she did not. Clarence Massaquoi did not. Francis Numaline, Baron D. Howard, Prince O. Tupa, Roger Doma, Edward Kiafa, Vonnie Sherman, Telbirosa Toponwe, Vincent Willie, Larry P. Nyakwe, A. Marshall Dennis, George Bullis Sr. Oh, wow, he didn't make it. Morris Itoma, he did not make it as well. Alex Grant, uh, Jonathan Kape, Steve Zago, Coming Wisa, Milton Tiaje, Alfred Kowud, Hacha Fata Sayon, Fina Lasana, Isaac Rowland, Mary Kaur, the wife of Zaza Kaur, Kanye Whistle, Joseph Matthew, Bob Sharif, Papi Cully, Albert Hill, Hanson Kezulu, uh, Emerson Kamara, Momu Soni, A. Vani Kone, and George Bien Sama. Oh, wow. So you have a whole list of folks that did not make it. So it's going to be interesting, folks. We are looking forward to. So we'll be joined by some of our outgoing panelists, and we're going to talk about the folks that were voted out and folks that were voted in. What is going on in Liberia. But in the meantime, we're still going to recognize some of our guests. We're still waiting for co uh, our co-panelists to come on. John took by right, Emmanuel Johnson, Gadjue Trench Cole, listening from Saigon, Abraham Cully, welcome back. Uh, Philip Deconty Jones from United Kingdom, uh, Mohammed Izadoli from Minnesota, Breakable, Pau, DMV is in the building. Mohammed daughter said, "We are glad you guys are back on today." Duke, you ready? You ready playing with us a few days? I know, Duke. We just been busy. We've all been traveling. I just got back last night, and so that's why. And too many is still in Liberia. Other folks, uh, Edwin Kura, he said, some criminal will be coming back. Explaining. Actually, I wrote on my Facebook page today that it's interesting. It's very interesting how people vote in Liberia, and I'm hoping that the folks will join me and let's talk about some of these guys. So Emmanuel say finally, Dr. Chima can use his doctoral degree in the private sectors in the private sector. Uh, Joseph Josepha Pay say JMB Sekou Talata Mohammed Sherry watching from Bangor, Lower Virginia. Uh, Tina Elliott say hi Doc. How are you, Tina? Uh, Orasco Fly Neil George watching from Florida. Well, Assumption City. Godwin Johnson. Uh, yeah, I don't have the counties. I just have the name, Mr. Craft. They just gave me the name, and I probably too many probably know all those counties. I don't know all those representatives, but I know some of them, like Vincent Willie and Merikawa, Buffer Chimo, Mac Goa, watching from Southeast Upper Maryland. Thank you. Wow, that's awesome. And we have Mataline De Yuga watching from Madison, Wisconsin. And Godwin Cooper. I've been looking for you. Welcome, Godwin. So, I mean, Godwin, all you guys, uh, Duarte, welcome back. We miss you. Yeah, if you're watching, man, just hit and clear the share button. Just share it. Uh, Lame should be coming on. Where you, Lame? I don't see you here. Should be coming on. We're gonna bring some folks on so we can have a discussion for the next 1 hour. We're gonna be out of here at least by 6:45 today, so we can just discuss how the Liberian people voted. It's interesting though, folks. Some of the folks that we saw winning. I was in Liberia for the election. I covered a couple of places. Winifred Smith, good to see you, my dear. Good to see you. And Ruth Rawakwemba, good to see you. Emmanuel, Amira Abu Johnson, Washington from UA campus. I was in Liberia and I was monitoring the election. I went to a couple of places. Of course, I went to Bassa in Owens Grove and I saw the folks were voting, and it was very, very interesting. Welcome, my brother. Welcome. It was very interesting to see how the folks were voting and all of that. And one thing, let me say this, this election, there have been a lot of disappointment. Some folks rather put the best into it, especially some of the newcomers. And I'm going to ask some of the good counselor Lamy is here today about how the Liberian vote the way they vote. I saw a lady who worked very hard. She came from the U.S. She did not the last 6 years. She's been in town with the people in Orange Grove. She has built, radio stations. She built a lot of things, medical buildings, and even put in a complex, a hotel to bring investment, to bring job. But at the end of the day, she did not win, and I don't understand, how our people vote. But Councilor Thumba, good to see you and welcome, man. Welcome to the closing argument, brother.
Yeah, Dr. Peabody, thank you very much. Where are all the other guys?
Man, they all moving around. We hoping to come back in full swing on Monday. I just came from Liberia last night. Tomalin is not too well, and then his mom also had a surgery, and he's currently at JFK with his family. Keff is busy, so
well.
yeah, wishes his mother a very speedy recovery. But we're hoping that the rest of the crew will be here on Monday. We are gearing up for a bigger show on Monday. But welcome and Counselor, what is your whole impression about the election? Tell me.
I think for me, the biggest takeaway from these elections should be the people who stayed away.
Yes.
I think that should be the biggest takeaway because not really looking at the final tallies, but I think with just around 60-something% turnout, it speaks volumes because that means that if you take each of the top two people, the amount of votes they got, it's probably as and the number of people who did not show up to vote. It's practically the same thing. So it means that those people who didn't show up to vote, they had the opportunity to take this thing and they decided not to. And that's a sad thing. What's the reason for that is something that or people have to study, because I think that's key. You can have 2.4 million people register to vote, and you have a significant number of those people staying away. I think that's, for me, I think that's the point of focus, I think. Because all the issue about the negative propagandas that went into the campaign process, I think that's behind us now. I think it's basically, we can go into our respective campaigns and political parties and discuss what went wrong and what we should have done better. I think that's water under the bridge presently. So for me, I think we should look at the people who did not show up to vote when they had the opportunity, and they could have tilted the skill. They could have tilted the skill either way. Those people who didn't show up to vote could have made someone to win. All right, they could have made someone else to be in a runoff. So I think that's the key thing. And going forward, like we discussed the last time, going forward, regardless of what happened in November, regardless of what happened on November 7th, I think we have to remain engaged in these processes, and we have to continuously hold people accountable, especially the people who come to our office. We have to hold them accountable. We have to make sure that they do right by the people and right by this country. Because if they do not do well, like the Peabody, I mean, even though you don't live here, it still affects you. It will
True.
affect all of us equally. So we have to make sure we remain engaged, we hold their feet to the fire, we demand that they do the right things, we demand that they transform this country, we demand that they enforce the laws and they
Right.
abide by the laws constitutionally. We have to demand those things.
Yeah, you said 2.4 million people. Only 60% you think of them show up to vote. And interestingly, some of the folks that did not did not show up to vote, they probably be the main one criticizing and talking that, oh, the election went this way, or this person didn't do that, or that person didn't do this thing, and stuff like that. So I think it was really important that like we were that they go and express their rights, But I traveled around Liberia during the election. I went from places in Monrovia, and I went to Owens Grove, where I voted, where I'm from. Uh, uh, I saw that the people were in a very high spirit. In Orange Grove, where I was, I talked to over 20 people, and they were in a very high spirit to vote. They were in a very, wanted, a lot of them talk about they wanted to see something new, they want to see change, and and all of that. I tried not to ask them who they were voting for. I didn't want to make that too political action, but I saw how eager, how they were. But one of the things I observed, Counselor, it seemed like in some areas, like Orange Grove, it was very peaceful. People were willing to stay on the line for 3-4 hours just to cast their votes. So,
Yeah,
what did that say? What did you observe? Anything contrary to that? You were in the Monrovia area voting, or what did you vote? By the way,
I've voted in Monrovia, I've voted in Broville,
okay,
in my community, and it took me it took me about 3.5 hours to vote. And it wasn't because the line was unnecessarily long. It was simply because the people who were running my center were extremely inefficient.
okay,
And then there was also this issue, this normal situation in Liberia where people always do not want to follow the rules, so they always want to jump the queue. So that was another problem. Someone comes and it thinks that their time, and that thing is so annoying. I always get very annoyed when people do it. That they think that their time is more valuable than mine. So instead of staying in a queue, they want a special preference and go to the front of the queue. And a lot of people do not take that as as wrongdoing. I always get very incensed when I see people do that. It makes me angry. I mean, nobody's time is more valuable than mine. If you want to be to the head of the queue, you should come earlier and stay in the queue sooner. But I mean, that was it. It took me 3.5 hours. My plan actually was to vote early and then
okay.
go around to see what was happening in other places. So probably I should have gone around to see what was happening in other places and then gone back to vote. And I made a mistake of going to vote first before trying to go other places, because I wanted to actually drive to the border with Sierra Leone
Mm-hmm.
and check polling centers along the way. I did not get the opportunity to do that because the voting center that I was assigned was extremely inefficient, and people
Okay.
voted in that center until almost 8 p.m.
Oh
because of
wow.
the inefficiency. Yeah, because of the inefficiency, people voted up to almost 8 p.m.
Consider Lame. Let's go to your party. You know, I've known Councilor Gongo, very smart. You know, very smart man who I know is credible when it comes to integrity. You know, he believed, you know, very. I mean, he played the game by the rules and all of that. You know, and one would have thought that he would have connected with Liberian people. You know, we saw him during the Ellen regime when he resigned from a post and all of that. What do you think happened? Why was the disconnect with the Liberian people? What do you think happened? Why you guys doing?
So for Councillor Gonglo, um, the reason why Councillor Gonglo didn't make the kind of show he made was because the the United Party made an efficient. They were efficient with their propaganda that Nima County voting for Unity Party meant that Nima County was in effect voting for the presidency for a Nima person to be president. That's the propaganda that destroyed us. Uh, and unfortunately, the people in Nima believe that. They believe that if they voted Unity Party, then they're technically voting for a de facto president in a vice president who's from Nima County. That's what actually, and Nima County has a huge representation all across this country, whether it's in Minnesota County, whether it's in Nima County itself, whether it's in Cape North, whether it's in the Southeast, there's a huge representation. So if you can succeed in convincing those people that if they vote for you, they are going to be in disguise, in effect, if they vote for you, in effect, they will be voting for themselves and they buy into that. And that's the reason why on this show I was arguing with people when guys brought this about Mr. Walker being sick and all that kind of stuff. I always used to argue and say, no, stop this thing because it doesn't help. It doesn't help. It only validates the argument that these people are making. That was the campaign that the guys ran, and unfortunately the people in Nima believe them. So we'll see whether governance is the same.
But
That's
but
that's the problem.
but Councilor Gongo is from Nima. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, do you feel in some way that he was rejected by his own people? Do you feel that way?
No, I don't think it was rejected. That's why I say I think the Nima people were hoodwinked. They're hoodwinked into believing something that may or may not be true. So people told them that if you vote the United Party, in effect, you are voting for a Nima president. That's what the people in Nima County were told, and they believe it. So I mean, it's difficult to argue against people in a position that they think is the true position. That's the propaganda. And then almost towards the end of the campaign process, there was another lie that was told by this guy on the Spoon Network of how the CEC had paid us, to in exchange for supporting in the runoff, they would give us money for our pool washers and stuff like that. Effectively telling the Liberian people that the LPP took bribes, which anybody in their own sound mind will not believe. But they put it out there. They put it out there last minute. We didn't have any responsive mechanism. We didn't have a radio station of our own to use, and stuff like that. So I mean, they won the propaganda war. I mean, I'll give it to them. They won the propaganda war. Now, if they are successful, they will have to win the governance war. I don't know.
Mm. And that appeared to be challenge. But let's look at the national race now. We see here now is now drawn to two candidates, President George Weah and VP Boakai. You talk about the propaganda war. President Weah is leading. Technically, uh, we can say he won, but he did not reach 50 plus one, and they have to go into a second round. So uh, What do you think? Now, this is the same old, we're coming back to the same factor, the propaganda factor, because we have people even calling the result before even next started giving result out. We have other network that was doing it and calling it all of that said that there was no doubt that the party have already won. And I heard people, oh yeah, we already got it, nothing going to change it. And at the end of the day, but the Southeast factor, who play a major role, the Southeast. What do you think? Why do you think the Southeast rejected in a way Party in a way? Why? Why you think? Why? Because President, we have won heavily in the Southeast. I mean, overwhelmingly. Why you
And,
think they
and I mean, I don't know why the votes went the way they went in the southeast. But if the CDC is not careful, those results from the southeast will probably be their undoing. Don't be surprised in a runoff election, the CDC gets far less votes in places that they want more when people start pointing to what happened in the southeast and the tribal nature of that. Don't be surprised that other parts of the country, they get far less votes than they got before. Don't be surprised at that. And it's not good. That's something that is
but
not good for our daily politics. It's not good because if we are to ensure that there's cohesion in this country, that will become a unified country. Liberia was never meant to be a country. Most people in this country did not ask to be part of a country. We are all part of our own separate nations, and some people
mhm.
came and decided to throw us together. We have not coalesced yet. We have not become cohesive. And every time we have these kind of elections where people vote the way they vote along tribal and regional lines, it divides this country more and more. How we are going to discourage that is something that we got to start talking about. We have to start taking deliberate actions to ensure that this country becomes a unitary state as the Constitution says it is. These small tribal organizations, the tribal organization of the country that we see after every elections. Like one of my colleagues were talking today how nowadays, in order to be a local government official in a county, you have to be from that county. We have to take deliberate actions to change those things. If we don't, it's going to affect this country in a serious, very serious way. It's going to affect this country. And if we're not careful, it may lead us to another conflict. Because identity, tribal religious identities are things that are emotive, of values, if you may call them that we have to be very careful how we continue pushing this. And for some reason, this country has come a long way in breaking down tribal barriers. Now, I was telling one of my friends a few sometime back, I was telling him, I said, for a lot of us, we came from tribal and homogeneous homes. So for most of us, our moms and our dads were from the same tribe. People of my generation and generations older than mine, people married their own tribes. But I mean, think about us coming along. You will hardly find people of my age married to somebody from the tribe. You hardly see it now. But yet and still, these tribal organizations will continue. What causing them to continue? Why are we breaking down these tribal barriers? Why are we not breaking them down? That's something we have to answer. And the votes in the southeast seem to point to that. And if you decide to use the country, if you decide to regionalize the country, the southeast never wins. If you decide to regionalize the country, the southeast never wins. So it's not a good game to play. It's absolutely not a good game to play.
Counselor, counselor, yes, it though. We have uh, Nima, for example. We have a guy like Prince Johnson who really went deep into to travel in the travel lines. I mean, he talked about Nima. That will be an opportunity for Nima to win an election. Will be an opportunity for Nima to take over the presidency. It'll be all for Nima to take over the presidency. It'll be an opportunity for Nima to take over the president. And all the message, all these divisive message, travel divide. That's the message that Prince Johnson was putting out there. You know,
I agree.
he made it seem
He's
like
a corporate. He's a Chris Johnson. The campaign that he and his people ran in Imakande was very divisive. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. It was basically like anything you do in order to get to power. I think basically that was their mantra. Anything you can do to get to power. And that doesn't help us. It doesn't help this country. We are supposed to be a unitary country, a unitary state as per our constitution. If we continue seeing these tribal alliances for elections, it's going to destroy the country in the long run. And maybe one of the best ways to try to foster problems that may result from that would be to go to a form of federalism that will give people, that will devolve powers in ways that people feel comfortable in their own smaller regions. And most likely where we are going, we have to be careful. We have to be
that's a
careful how we put these our cards.
that's a difficult thing because I think there was another recording up there again yesterday. 2 days I listened to if the guys in the back. I'll try to send it to them about Prince Johnson talking about this same thing. All he talks about is the people from Nima, great people. My organization do a lot of work there. In fact, we just finished a big school in Nima in March for the kids there and all that. So I travel to Nima a lot, but the people of Nima are great people, very receptive. But Prince Johnson continued to make it seem like Nima is the only county in Liberia. It's the only place I thought about this. Somebody asked a very beautiful question here. Let me highlight it. I think it was Solomon Morris. Let me highlight it. He said, what could convince the people in the southeast to vote for Unity Party?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't represent the Unity Party, so I don't know what will convince them. But I don't think they. I think if you compare the last elections to this one, the way the people voted in the southeast in previous elections was not, apart from Grangeville County that gave the CDC winning votes all the time, the other counties did not do the same. So it's strange that now that shift happened. We have to start asking ourselves, why did it shift that way? The southeast did not benefit anything better doing the CDC government than any other part of the country. To say they are voting because they got huge amounts of benefits. No, none of that happened. So why are they deciding to vote for them the way they're voting for them? You have to ask that question. Is it purely because of tribal reasons and regional reasons? If it is purely for tribal and regional reasons, then that's something that we all should condemn because it doesn't speak well for our country. And the same thing for Mr. Johnson and his divisive politics.
Right.
We need to draw the line. If we need to bring this country together and heal, as we have not done, we need to make sure that we break down these tribal barriers. We need to make sure that we do that.
But Councillor, the report that uh, Vice President Barker did not make any attempt to go in the southeast and campaign all that. So if you didn't go there to carry a message, the people did not see you. You were only focused in one area. So who do you think should the people vote for? They should vote for those who went there with a message. And I guess President Weah did carry a very good message to Lofa. To the southeast, and that's why the people voted for him. He did not do
You know,
travel to
I'm
the.
not sure. I'm not sure it's the messaging that led to those votes. But again, that's a point. I mean, that's a valid point. That one person did not go to the region, but Gongolo went to that region more than
Yeah,
once.
yeah, yeah. He
So
did.
how do you explain why they didn't give some of their votes to Gongolo in any significant way? Mr. Cummings went to that region. He's from that region. Why explains why they didn't give the votes to him too? So and it should have never been just about either the Unity Party or CEC, and I mean I'll blame the Unity Party for that because they started this thing about if you don't vote for us, you'll be wasting your vote. Otherwise, CDC will win. And I think that also helped Mr. Weah to get a lot of votes because when they define the argument as just between them and Mr. Weah, and if you vote for any other person, you're wasting your vote. I think what happened was that people who some people who did not want Mr. Weah, but also they didn't want them, decided, okay, then we'll just go for Mr. Weah once and for all. And that was wrong.
but Councilor, okay, let me draw your attention here to Lofa. It was considered a UP heavy area. They control that. We saw Thomas Fala playing a good. He wanted he won big there. We saw the UP. I mean the CDC taking big votes in Lofa. You know, what does it say to Joe Barker popularity there? I know he won. He won with high margin as well, but we saw the CDC taking a very heavy vote in Lofa. Oh, he's out. Okay, well, with the
It's
he
just
comes
it
back.
simply showed that I think that what that showed is that the people in Lofa are not homogeneous, and that's a fact. Lofa is, I think, a county that has more sub-tribes, more tribes than any of the other counties in the country. I think it also shows that the people there are susceptible to be influenced. That's what it shows. But I think what you gotta watch Lofa now is to watch and see what happens in the runoff in Lofa. Is my assumption that my conclusion is that the CDC's vote that they got first round in Lofa County is going to get reduced.
You want to think so because the CDC have done a
I
lot
think
in
their votes
Lofa.
in Lofa will
I'm
be
not,
reduced.
the CDC have done a lot in
Yeah,
Lofa. They have,
they appear to have done a lot there.
but it's there. It's there, Counselor. It is there. You see some of the areas
Yeah,
that
they appear to have done a lot there. But what's going to happen is that I think they're going to lose. They're going to lose some of the ground they gained there in the first rounds of the elections. They're going to lose further grounds in Nima County. They're going to lose further grounds in the western Liberia. They're going to lose grounds in Bong. So and if you put these places together with Nima and do a draw in a Montserrat County, these other places, So I think that and you guys are good at propaganda. They're going to take that southeastern thing and run around with it and
but
say, I mean,
you don't
it's
see it
our
the
time
other
to
way
go
too.
together because all of you.
You don't see it the other way of Joe Barker loses some vote as well in other places. You don't see it the other way too.
No, I mean, I'm not talking in favor of Mr. Bwaka or Mr. Weir. But the point is just fair, open analysis, right?
Hmm.
He cannot lose any more votes in the southeast because he didn't get anything much there, right?
Hmm.
So the fact that he didn't get anything much there, it means he can't lose anything there.
Yeah.
So if you keep the southeast constant, the only thing you have to do, you got to run up the votes in the rest of the place. That's all you need to do. And if you can reduce the other people's votes in the rest of the country, I mean, obviously you've done well. The southeast is not going to change. I mean, I think anybody, if it were me, I wouldn't even bother campaigning in the southeast. I won't. I will monitor the polls in the southeast, but I will not bother campaigning there because it would be a waste of my time and money. And I
Okay.
will just
Well,
focus on the rest of the country.
wow. Let me come to this. So what's going to be moving forward? What does Councilor Gombo plan to do? Do you guys plan to support Assad, endorse Assad, or you guys? What do you guys plan to do?
We're going to have conversations around that. We started talking about what we're going to do. One thing we are going to do is we're going to remain engaged in these processes. Um, the Gonglo campaign was meant to bring sanity to governance in Liberia. That focus has not changed. It's not going to change. We will remain engaged in the governance process, in the political process throughout this period to the next elections. We'll continue being engaged. So we're discussing, I mean, obviously you got to do stock taking. At the end of any such process, you got to do stock taking. So we're having our different discussions. We are stock taking. We're deciding what happens next, what we need to do differently tomorrow. We're discussing all those things. On the issue about whether we will support anybody in these elections, it depends on uh, what the other people will push us on. And we're not going running behind. We're not going to go running behind anybody to say we won't support you. No, absolutely, we're not going to do that. If they come to us, we'll talk to them, and the institution will make a decision. The institution will decide what it does. But the key thing is that we are going to remain in the political process in this country.
So let's come back here. Something interesting has been unfolding. I want to talk about some of the folks. For example, some of the folks that were elected. For example, we saw uh, Alex Tyler, the former speaker. He was involved into a lot of massive corruption in that country. The Sylvester is I believe is coming on. He was involved in a lot of stuff. In fact, he was even given the famous name Corruption King Kong. We saw him being re-elected. What does that say to you? I mean, talk to me about it.
I mean that doesn't speak well of the people in Bombing County. That's a sad thing. And uh, unfortunately, the CDC allowed Mr. Tyler to get off the hooks. So I think it's even going to be impossible to prosecute Mr. Tyler because the statute of limitation obviously has kicked in, and so
But the
whatever
UP
wrong
did
Mr.
too.
Tyler did,
He was
huh?
he was actually it was under the UP government that Tyler was I think indicted on those charges or the big ball one
And
big
they,
ball.
and that's the same case of Ronnie Sherman, right? That's the same case of Ronnie Sherman. I think that case ended and they let him go free. So for respect to that particular issue, that double jeopardy, you can't try them on that issue anymore, except maybe you have a different set of facts. But you can't try them on that issue anymore because double jeopardy has attached.
Right.
They indicted them, they pleaded, the case started, so you can try them on that matter. And I think that case ended and they were found, they were exonerated. So it means that they walk free. But there may be other issues of corruption that happened while he was speaker, while he was in the UP government. Because of the length of time that have passed, especially if those things are already in the public domain, you can technically not do anything about it. So if whoever wins, whichever group wins the elections in November, when they come to office in January, one of the easiest way they can deal with this statute of limitation issue is to put in a constitution that the statute of limitation will be lifted for certain crimes, especially financial crimes and corruption. They should they should they should make sure there's a referendum that will put in the constitution that statute of limitation will not apply to financial crimes against the state, and that process will be retroactive. The moment you do that, the moment you do that, you have you have delivered a severe blow to corruption in this country, because then it means that any serious prosecutor can go back as far as he or she wants to deal with those issues. That one of the easiest things we can do. It will take will to do that. It will take political will to do that. I'm not sure any of the people running for office have that political will. I hope they do, but I don't think they have. So for someone like Tyler, even though the moniker is that he's corruption king Kong, we really can't do much about his alleged corruption issues. We can't do much about it.
And then we see Prince Johnson is back. He was voted. The people in Nima voted for him overwhelmingly.
No, he was expected to win his seat. In 2014, I think it was, when Prince Johnson was up for re-election. That same election that brought Sherman and Situman to the legislature. At the time, I was overseeing the organization, and we
Somebody got
sent
mute.
people. So I
Oh, you
sent
got to
people
mute.
in.
Can you mute? Can you mute you? Okay. Thank you.
So I sent people to go and interview different senatorial candidates, and I personally interviewed Maurice Etuma at the time. And people went to interview different people, and Prince Johnson. I still have those clips. Prince Johnson was interviewed, and you know what he said? He said he's senator for life in Nima County. Prince Johnson. To our interviewers, I still have that clip. He said, I'm senator for life. He said, I will only start being senator if I want to, if I do not want to be senator anymore. So, I mean, you expect those people will continue electing him. He either continue being elected until he passes away in office and get a state funeral, or he maybe become infirm and he retires, or he says he's senator for life. He's 70 something years old now, so after these 9 years, I'm not sure
Yeah.
he can do another.
After
Yeah,
9 years, he'll be here 80, so he probably will
yeah.
would
I
rather
don't think he
be.
can do another 9. I don't think he can do another 9.
He probably be the
He's,
senator for life. But there's another
yeah, he
guy.
said he's senator for life. Yeah.
I want to focus on a few folks that was involved in the war and then they got elected. We have the other guy called Thomas Nimlin. He was elected. Thomas Yaya
Yeah,
Nimlin.
yeah,
He
that
was
was
elected.
another issue. So what has happened now is that you have LPC in the legislature, you have Model in the legislature, and you have INPF in the legislature. The leaders, three of the warring factions that participated in the war in this country, the leaders of those groups are all members of the parliament presently. Or by next year, they will all be members of the parliament. Because I will assume Mr. Bole retook his seat, right?
No.
Oh, I see. He did
Oh,
not.
so Nimle is replacing him. Okay, so that
He
I'm
did.
on this one.
He
Yeah,
did not. There are a lot of big names.
yeah.
A lot of big names that will be leaving. But welcome, Mr. Russell. Welcome, Johnny. It's good to see all you guys. We just kind of reflecting on the election and the surprises and and some of the folks and the second round as well. As you guys are aware that we will be heading into a second round election and what will UP do differently? What will the CDC do differently, and all of that? And also, we talk about the Southeast. Why why President V. Barker did not go to the Southeast, and the people decided that the people that came to us with a method will follow. But I just want to get your take on that, especially we'll start with Johnny, and then we'll go to Mr. Russell. Why is it, Johnny? What do you think of second round? Going to second round. What do you think of that? Johnny, can you hear me? So he's frozen, right? All right. So
He's frozen.
he's frozen. So are you back, Johnny?
Can you
We
hear me
can't
now?
hear you. Yes, I can hear you now. Yes, I can hear you, Johnny. I think you got to go and come back in. Mr. Russell, what is your take on that?
Well, the second round will be interesting, no doubt. But let me first say it's great to be on here. It's good to be in the presence of you all and being a part of this conversation and being on the closing argument. I'm not sure where is Ben, Tomalin, and Jackie and Keff and everybody else, but it's wonderful to be with Johnny and with Lamy and with you, Dr. Peabody. But the second round for sure. I mean, this is where the second round, of course, is different from the first round. Voter turnout is going to be huge. I think whoever brings out the voters, ensure that the voters come out to vote. I think
Is it
they was already
okay?
chance. So voter turnout is going to be huge.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
I
what do
think
you?
you're right. I think voter turnout is going to be key, and the voter turnout is obviously going to be less than what it was in the first one because most
Yeah.
times, if you look at 2005 and 2011, a lot of times, if for both of those elections, the voter turnout in the first round was far higher than the voter turnout in the second round, because people who are no longer interested in the elections most times just stay home. So the voter turnout will be key. The group that can inspire the people to come out more is likely going to win. And
Yeah, I mean
also, if we
that's
can,
what
we can reach across, yeah, if we can reach
yeah,
across,
yeah. I
yeah.
mean that's what it's going to come. It's going to come down to whoever, um, who would be able to bring their folks out. So the whole GOTV strategy, we have to be strong and intact. So that's to get out the vote strategy. So anybody who, the candidate that comes up with a really good get out the vote, strategy. And I mean, you don't have a lot of time. I think it's about 2 weeks to go.
It's 2 weeks.
Uh,
It's,
yeah,
it's It's roughly little over 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
But it's the 7th
of November.
Of November, yeah. So like just about 2 weeks from now, little over.
So,
but another thing again is that the person who can succeed in growing their numbers even slightly can also stand a chance of winning. If you can grow your number also.
Yeah.
If you only depend on your base, you probably toast.
No, I mean you can't. I mean because as we saw, both the Unity Party and the CDC, they've almost maxed out, right?
Yes.
So you have, so and I think I posted this on my wall once, and they talk about, look, independence is going to make the difference. So quote unquote independence. I'm talking about people from other political parties. They'll have to come in. So if you can reach out, the most that folks will be able to do is to reach out to those parties and get them over to their side. So if you can do that, if you can try to convince folks from other political parties to come and join in, the better you're going to be. So that's what's going to make the difference. It's not Unity folks from Unity Party or folks from CDC. So CDC folks will have to reach out and get more people to their side and get them out to vote. UP will have to do the same. So if they're going to have any chance of winning winning this, the independents, the non-sedition and the non-UP folks will be the ones that folks will have to reach out to make the difference.
I mean, the rest of
another group also that they probably need to reach out to is the 500,000 people who did not vote.
Yeah,
those 500,000 people who did not vote.
Right.
That also is a key group, probably maybe even more important than the rest of us who took sides.
Okay, but welcome, Sylvester. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Let me put this out here. Who should the UP be reaching out to, and who should the CDC be reaching out to? Let's start with Sylvester on
that. Thank you, Dr. Peabody. Good to see you. We've been having some internet problem being in the forest area and the rest of that. But again, I think it is obvious that these elections they were very critically important to us. We're now doing some soul searching, trying to go back to the political drawing board. But again, I want to believe that the CDC, for instance, the Congress, the Coalition for Democratic Change is going to get engaged across the aisle. And this is what, part of this reason is that the president been one of those persons that can reach. He's a leader that across the political line in this country, and he's going to go beyond regional side. As part of the reason why he crisscrossed the country during the political campaign. He's going to reach out to almost everybody. Those basically, first and foremost, the part of the process going to be those citizens that went backstage. He's going to invite them. He's going to extend what we call to a very unique olive branch to them. He will also move across the line to invite other members of the coalition that for some reasons left the process. He's going to invite them. He's going to begin the process to him and thinking and praying to what I want for. The coalition will bring to bear, inviting those members that was part of the process from the get-go. We'll also reach to other major political actors, those actors in different political institutions, going to bring them together. We'll reach to the traditional chiefs, all of those that play a major role in the political activities in this country. So it's going to be a very holistic process, and across the political parties also. We're going to begin the process of also talking to Lamy and Lamy Pagwa and that of the rest of the folks. So we're going to cross across the line. So this president is going to go beyond the line. The party will also go beyond that to ensure. We will also attempt to talk to some folks in the Unity Party, those that are disgruntled. We know that a lot of disgruntled members there. Also, we want to talk to them to see reason why do we have to come and get this process over with, because the president is committed in seeing the transformation of this country. So yes, we're going to engage the 15 political subdivisions. So that's part of the line where we believe the strategy and the material, and we will also move deep move deep into both Lofa and nearby counties. Those two counties, basically, you would see that the first time that the Peabody, you will note that the last election, President, we have got less than 10,000 votes in the last elections, far less than 10,000 votes in the last election in 2017. This time we got close to 30%. The last time was less than 4%. This time around, the president got almost 30% of the votes in Lofa. That's an extraordinary performance, right? We got almost 60,000 plus votes in Nima County. What we intend to do is we intend to see that we want to just post that performance of the last time and want to see where we need to work on some numbers and increase that. But yes, we're going to extend the line. There's going to be olive branch extended. There's going to be some political overthrow, and the rest of that, there's going to be some political discussion in terms of how we can get this done. But I believe sincerely that we can get the next process, hopefully, that by November 7th, this time is going to be just simple majority, just one vote. So we think we can get this done. The president is in the lead with 7,381 votes. That's the differential currently. We intend to increase that by a little number immediately after the NIMBA rerun is done. Hopefully it's tomorrow or Saturday. When that result is in and the final result is announced, we intend to increase that process. So yes, I think we will go beyond the lines and do a lot of major political work, and those political work will have to come across as a political issue. So we will put all of our political machinery to work, everything whatsoever, everything. Everyone's going to get involved. And most of us now will be deployed in our cycle of influence. And that's how to get the job done. Get deployed in our cycle of influence and try to coordinate. And personally, part of my cycle of influence is Lami Pwagwa. He's a big brother. I will liaise with him. We will have some discussion. We will want to see how we can cement the rapprochement to see how we can bring folks together and so we can get the job done. Yes, this job is going to be done. I can assure you on this. But I didn't want to go for the first stage you're talking about, those that got elected and the rest of it. Now, we are at the political stage now. We intend to reconcile the country, move the country forward, and bring everyone to bear to get this done and vote for President Weah so we can get this job done and move the country developmental process forward. So yes, we will vote across the line, and we intend to do that very clinically, politically, and philosophically. We'll use all of our machinery that are available, and that's what we're going to do. But we're going to do that in the need of peace and ensure that this country will be protected, this democracy will be protected, and that's part of the reason of the democratization process going to continue.
Mr. Ruffin, what do you think? Who should? Let me change the question. We say here that the CPP, the ANC, the other group, they have been back and forth with the Unity Party. We saw the framework agreement that Mr. Cummings was accused of, and that brought some bad blood there. Do you think? How do you expect UP to reach out to them? Do you think there'll be any support from the UP that will give CPP? CPP said, "Oh, we'll give them our vote." Do you expect them to do anything in that?
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but it is doable. It depends how the message is couched and how the message is delivered, and who is delivering the message to as well. So there've been a lot of bad blood, and I mean, many folks have said this. I know Benjamin Sanvee, you and others have been saying, "Hey, you guys be careful, what you're saying and how how you're interacting with folks." I mean, during the first round, when the campaign was so heated, because you would probably need them in the second round. But some folks didn't listen, they didn't hear that. They got all caught up in the wind of campaigning, and people were using invectives here and there. And insulting folks on all sides. But I still think that they will be able to get some folks to come across from the ANC, CPP, LP, and that whole side. But it all depends on how the message is couched and how the message is going to be delivered, and of course, who will be delivering, the message. Because for some people, this is about country. Some people to look at this and say, okay, what is in it for me personally? You know, what am I going to get out of this? But there are others too who are looking at it from 35,000 feet level, looking at it sort of this big picture approach, that this is about country and it's not about me. It is not personal. So they will have to appeal to all those different sentiments. A unity party, we have to go out and try to make amends and try to work with the folks from the CPP, appeal to them, appeal to their good consciences and their good graces, and try to bring them on board. They have no choice. They have no choice, because as we have said before, Unity Party cannot win this election all on its own, or all on this on partisans just from Unity Party. It will have to reach across the aisle. It will have to reach across to other political parties, from the senator from Councilor Gonglu and his team, from Mr. Manaba, from Mr. Cummings and his team. So all of these folks, and then Mr. Lamine talked about the 500,000 or so people who didn't vote. They have to devise a strategy of how to reach out to those people, how to appeal to those people, to bring them on board and tell them what is in it for them, whether it's collectively or individually or based on the various parochial interests. They will have to appeal to them. I mean, they have no choice, but to do that. But I think one of the groups that folks would need to reach out to, and so that we're talking about Unity Party, one of the things I would recommend to them is that they should reach out to the youth more aggressively. I know they had a lot of young people there, but it seemed like, from what I saw on the ground, it seemed like CDC, because I was there and I was in the by accident. I was in the CPP, the CDC closing rally, and I can tell you, man, it was crazy. It was a lot of folks. It was jam packed. There were a lot of youth. There were a lot of young people. So I know CDC has a lot of young people. UP does too, but I think UP will have to make a more concerted effort, an aggressive concerted effort into reaching the different youth base in Monrovia or across the country to bring them on. So they should reach out to the youth en masse, reach out to the youth, reach out to people with disability. I think it's one of the the constituency group that a lot of folks ignore or forget. But people with disability, reach out to those people, and there are a number of folks around the country with disability. How are we appealing to those people? Reach out to them, try to bring them to the fold, and also reach out to women voters. I mean, women make up almost 50% of the electorate. Who are them are making this sort of a strong, robust effort, to go out to women, appealing to the women vote, out there. I think once they can try to reach out to those three broad constituency groups, I think that will be helpful, Dr. Peabody.
But
they have to be honest, and they have to be forthright about it, and it's all about the messenger.
You just said something. Breaking news. People for the UP will go after you, but that's the fact. I was there when UP did their closing rally, and I'm telling you, I've never seen in person. I haven't seen a crowd like that in person. I was there. In fact, I was stuck at one point to GSA Road for more than 3-4 hours when the CDC was doing their closing. I mean, you talking about thousands and thousands of people.
So you were. I was there for the UP and for the. I was there for both the CPP ANC or ANC CPP. I was there for the UP and I was there for the CDC. And hands down, in my estimation, and I was caught up in the crowd too as well. And in that crowd, they went around and around the Japanese highway, went all the way around from the SKD Stadium, I think where it started in the rehab community in Painesville, and they sort of trekked all the way through and went out to EAWA, went east towards the GSA road, and then to the red light district there, and all the way on the Japanese highway, and around and around. It was jam packed, and if you remember, it rained earlier Sunday morning.
Yes.
I thought, hey, so I went out. So that's what. So I venture out. Yeah, I said, well, I don't think this stuff is going to be bad, because people have been warning me, don't go out there. It's going to get crazy. It's going to be bad. I said, okay. But after church, we decided to go out, and so we went out, and it didn't seem like there's a lot of folks there. But after we had lunch and coming back, bro, I mean, it was crazy. So, I mean, the youth were out there. People were going, I mean, they sort of like in a sort of bi-directional way. So people were going towards town, away from town. I mean, it's like, where's this crowd headed?
Yeah.
So
I saw it.
Folks.
I give up when I saw it, because, man, I was stuck for like, in fact, I just went somewhere inside there. I think I'm going to stay here. My sister has a shop. I said, you know what? I'm going to spend I just going to sit with my sister's shop.
Yeah.
I can't go to She was warning me.
I mean, they brought out the numbers. So I think that's part of what UP, I mean, UP did have a lot of young people, a lot of youth there. But what I saw, the youth bulge that I saw within that CDC closing rally, or during that CDC closing rally, I mean, it was overwhelming.
But let me share the joke before I go to Councilor Lamy. People were saying, because I think UP have come up that Saturday, and people were saying, the UP were saying, oh no, they can't make it. Nobody can put up this crowd. And CDC said, look, we're coming for you. And when CDC came, I gave up. I'm in the crowd. I haven't seen any crowd like that before for a long time. But I'm telling you, but Russell, one thing you talk about honesty. And then Councilor Lamy will answer this. Today we're listening to, by far, I call him Liberia most popular talk show host. I listened to Henry Costa this morning, like around 11, and he shared some things. And we all know how much he did. I mean, he talked about the good, he talked about the bad, some of the things that he did wrong, and all of that, just to keep the Unity Party going. But one of the things he talked about how he was left out. The VP Parker did not reach out to him 3 weeks before naming his VP. He did not call him or talk to him. And with all what he done for DB Bwaka, he talked about the sacrifices he made. In fact, I would say Costa resuscitated that party. He brought VP Bwaka back. He brought the image, everything. He was on the radio 2, 3 in the morning. He talked about they were not being honest to him, how they treated him. He said, okay, even up to now, VP did not even reach out to him and all of that. Councilor Lamy, do you think that VP Bwaka can be trusted?
Peabody, I'm not going to answer that question. And the reason why I won't give you a direct answer on that, because I don't want anybody attributing it to Councilor Gonglo or to the LPP. Whether or not anybody can be trusted, especially somebody who's in the public domain and who's been in the public domain for all these years, is for the public to decide. This old man's been in our lives for a very long time. So if he has trustworthy, it will be clear. There will be evidence out there. So I will leave it at that. I mean, everybody can have opinions on how they evaluate someone based upon what transpired in a relationship. Anybody can have.
But yes, we saw that Uh, he testified against Mr. Cummings. They were very close buddy on a
I don't
case.
understand why, Dr. Peabody, let me just hold you there. That case, there may have been political reasons why they all decided to do what they did, but that case was a non-case, it was a zero case. And I don't even understand why somebody may say, oh, it's for political reasons and stuff like that. The Solicitor General of the Republic of Liberia goes to a magisterial court to prosecute a case that doesn't make any sense. Someone says another person author the document of a private organization. I mean, how does that amount to a crime? How does that amount to a crime? That the Solicitor General of the Republic of Liberia will leave his high office and come down to a magisterial court to come and prosecute that kind of frivolous case. I think that should be that particular situation should attract our eye. Not the fact that Mr. Bwaka, and I don't think he should have gone there. I don't think he should have participated in that case. But he probably had his own political reason. That's the reason why he went there. And they will tell you that he was subpoenaed. I mean, that doesn't really mean much. So that's why the government wasted taxpayers' money. The government, because you can't prosecute a criminal case in this country if the government is not a prosecutor. Our government of Liberia wasted taxpayers' money to prosecute a frivolous matter. That should be what we should be focusing on.
All right, Sylvester, what do you think about that? Do you think that I don't know, I believe you listened to Mr. Costa today, where he pretty much, in fact, it came to a point that he became very emotional about all he put into the Unity Party and all he did, and he was treated the way he was treated. And we're talking about honesty this year. We're talking about trust. We saw Benani Ure, who also put in a lot of resources, and he was left out. Costa, the Cummings. Do you think that Joe Biden can be trusted?
No, absolutely no, and that's why he lamented today, and he even went further to. He was very detailed in terms of the explanation. I took some time to listen to the rebroadcast of the podcast. I think he was more detailed, and this is supposed to be because if you come into the Liberian presidency, you have to be honest and you have to exhibit those leadership skills and attributes that will allow folks to understand that do we have to do business with you, do we have to trust you, if you will, and all those things he said. And what he said is true. But what he did, he brought life back into the Bwaka presidency. He did an entire recalibration skills that he brought to bear, and he gave it some serious political thought process, and the wit was extraordinary, if you will. And I do agree with him. And he also said Mr. Uri, who is almost I think in his late 60s, he got some back problem, was reducing to the bare ball of Mr. Boakai, right? He was one of those loyal. He described the both of them to be the most loyal individual that came along with Mr. Boakai. So all of what he said, the issue was about being trustworthy and moving to the Liberian presidency, because that is the embodiment of the structure of the state. You need to protect the administrative states, and dealing with that, you have other folks that you have to deal with, and dealing with them, we have to allow folks to trust you. One of the issues is that you don't have to be introducing those kind of a trust tendency, right? That we fear folks from coming along with you. So yeah, he was very detailed today, and I'm deeply worried that we should not contemplate in giving the Liberian presidency to someone that will be trusted. So yeah, Mr. Costa was not only realistically speaking his mind today, but he tried to project some reality. Now, what is currently unfolding in the country? One will come out to say that with current what is unfolding, to see with all of what that have unfolded in this country, with all of the tumultuous difficulties we went through as a nation, and coupled with the coronavirus that hit this country, wrecked the entire world, brought the war to a standstill. With all of those difficulties and exorbitant factors that held up down, Mr. President still managed to pull. Listen, and we hadn't anticipated the way, but again, with the combination of all the difficult process, a couple of the Ukraine war, the coronavirus situation that brought our economy to stand at a standstill, and the president managed, he and his crack team managed to put into place an administrative process of skill that pull out of this issue with the numbers that came up today as he did his analysis on the most serious note. I'm very pleased with the performance of what unfolded. I think we can get this done in the roundup, but yes, what Mr. Costa stated was very clear. Even he also talked about the role people like the former tag team here, Tila, you and the rest of the folks, when they arranged for a special charter flight to Lagos, from Lagos to another states in Nigeria, all of those things, and you reduced themselves. So those that were very loyal and the rest of it, and you didn't recognize them, in this case of leadership, a good leader would begin the process of trying to structure his followers, ensuring that protecting his followers. So, I mean, the issue about protectionism, the issue about confidence building and the rest of that, because loyalty is defined from different spectrum, right? We all collectively have to sit and understand the main responsibility of a leader responsibility to inspire, to protect, and to do things that we mobilize your base, and that's what a true leader can exhibit. But I think he failed miserably when it comes to those. So I'm deeply concerned and worried, and I see part of the reason why even in the first round, the Liberian Party were, despite of those difficult times that we face in this country, despite of the very deeply polarized nation, the people were still inclined to believe that the president of the Republic of Liberia is still the most preferred of the Liberian people to get the job done and do the business. This is why the president made a lot of commitment past time, and he's stood by those commitments. He committed, and we are not yet there. And trust me, I won't be afraid to reduce my tone. I will amplify it, and I will continuously amplify this tone, because I believe sincerely that we somewhere, and we got a leader that can say to you, Dr. Peabody, tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we're gonna do this. And trust me, 2 minutes to 10 o'clock or 5 minutes to 10 o'clock, where you to go there, you will see the commitment of the president in terms of what he said. He committed to doing a lot of things. He said he was going to give free tuition to the University of Liberia. He did that. He talked about the issue about digitizing the university. He did that. He talked about the pro home. He did that. He talked about building our own infrastructure process of government building. He did. He's on course in doing those things. He talked about increasing the AC grade in this country. He did that. So yes, he's one of those that you can trust. And the issue, if you have the process about denialism around the leader, like what is unfolding now, there's a problem. It's a very difficult process to remove yourself from that. So yeah, I listened to Mr. Costa. I thought, and no one should come and say this, that Mr. Costa, someone said Costa is currently living past glory. No, if you dare think that way, you need to rethink the process. Costa is increasingly popular. He's increasingly going to be part of the political process in this country. We still got to take him serious, right? So those that believe that they try to bring him down, shutting to backstabbing, are those that are running those kind of myopic and a very reckless thought process about him being not part of the political process anymore. He's still a consequential element in terms of our political line. Yes, he is. We all differ, so now we disagree to agree on issues, but you still have to take him the way. So part of the analysis that today he gave, I think these were analysis that was shocking there, straightforward, and I think the ambassador Walker cannot be trusted, and he cannot be trusted with those that have committed themselves for him, those that went beyond the trenches to put them their chest in front of the political bullet, if you will, political bullet. I'm not talking about the raw bullet, right? Folks that will come and revive your political career that was almost dead. If you can do that to them and stab them in the back, I'm deeply concerned and troubled that we cannot trust said person. And that's part of the reason why we now got the responsibility and the gamble in our hand as people, because the constitution of this country says power is inherent in the people. And I want to believe the people are going to come out in the mass again on the 7th of next month to finally give the final second term gavel to the President of the Republic of Liberia. He's trusted. You can rely on him. He's a reliable element. He's a true leader. He's a competent leader. He's a leader that inspires his people and protect his followers. Those are the kind of leader we want to see. And we're going to ensure that he is the elected president of this country.
All right, guys, we got 20 more minutes to be out here. 20 minutes. Let me shift to some other discussion. Councilor Lamin, what should we be considering as the battleground for the second round? Which area will you think that to be the battleground for the second round?
I mean, obviously, Monserrado County is the major battleground, and it appears like the votes were split between the two groups. I would think that Grand Bassa County may be interesting also. Yeah, I think Monserrado County and I think Grand Bassa County may be interesting. Those two.
So Russell, which area will you consider as at the battleground? He talked about Monserrado, Bassa. I think the CDC did win in Bassa and all that. But which area? You talk about Monserrado. You got no Monserrado.
I was quite surprised actually at the CDC's performance in a sort of the Bassa belt of Bassa land and that whole area. But some of the counties that I think in this second round will form part of what you're describing at the battleground counties. Margibi, for sure, I think would be considered. I will put Monserrado County in that column too, as well as battleground. Bunk County, though, I mean, even though I know UP did very well in Bunk County, but Bunk County could also fall in that column of being a battleground county. And I don't think that the CDC should turn the other way and say, okay, and be reluctant to fight in Bunk County and just leave it up to the UP. I think it is possible for CDC to still win or to come up, with some sizable vote numbers in Bone County, but obviously we have to work much harder than the UP. But it is something that can be accomplished. So those would be the counties that I'll put out there as battleground.
Okay. I don't know who put this up here. Look, we see Monserrado. In fact,
can I comment on my own battlegrounds?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I'll give you that. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Peabody. Yes, I will agree somehow with Mr. Russell and that of. But again, here's what I would take it from. The number one battleground because of the process. I would think that Margibi is going to be considered one of those because it was a little shocking that we didn't pass the mark in Margibi. We have to change the strategy. It's the battleground. We're now going to battle there heavily. And Margibi County is one of those. Here in Monserrado also going to be one of those areas that we have to focus on, and that of Kitma and Bapuru. Right, Kitma and Bapuru and Bomi, I would consider those areas now battleground areas, if you will. But again, we need to be very clear in terms of the re-stratification process from our end, if you will, if something else. We have to be strategic to go into those battlegrounds. I wouldn't want to refer to Grand Bassa as some. No, it's not. And as Mr. Russell, let me just share this information with us. The past election, Mr. Weah performed always very well in Grand Bassa County. As a matter of fact, he always came second in Grand Bassa in past elections. So this was not a strange thing, was not a strange phenomenon in terms of his performance in winning Grand Bassa County. What I believe in, and again, as a matter of issue, I was just having a conversation with my former boss. This place called a telephonic conversation with him, congratulating him for his victory. The former foreign minister, he won in Grand Bassa. I congratulated him. And again, I'm convinced that the number for President Weah is going to exponentially increase in Grand Bassa in the runoff. He's going to double the number. I want to believe sincerely. Yeah, so Grand Bassa will not be part of it, but I would take Moserado, Kitman, Bomi, and that of Bapu County and that of here in Moserado are going to be major battlegrounds that are going to determine the process. Now, if you were to move back into Lofa, that's what I said. I don't think Lofa is a battleground state. It's a stronghold of the incumbent. The former vice president. But what we did a very great inroad there. We got significant portion of the vote there. So if we were to again move out to increase that by another 5 to 10% margin, something we're looking forward to doing, that would be very good for us. And then we can double the numbers also in the Southeast. Mind you, the Southeasterners, they were voting around 78 to 80%. And we intend to increase that by 85 to 87, 88% percentage point. That would be great. We also look forward to increasing the number significantly in Bon County. That's also going to help us move on. But yeah, so these are critical battleground terrain that I believe that we're going to do significantly well in, and we're going to focus in those counties, the rest of that. I intend to move into one of the battleground area tomorrow to do some assessment. That would be the Mangibi area, the entire rubber plantation area. We need to talk to most of our rubber tappers and the rest of that. We move in the bone mines area also and critically look at it, and we have some inroad in the area. But yes, we look forward to a very, very tough, but again, it's going to be a rewarding issue.
All right, Sylvester. We got about 15 minutes to go, but I don't know why. I'm going to throw this out there. Why should Moserado be a battleground place for CDC, especially when you have a guy that Sajusa is winning almost 400,000 to 450,000 votes in welcome, Jackie. You guys coming on? We got like 15 minutes. The studio telling us that we got 15 minutes to go. Robert, good to see you as well. But Robert, let's start with you. Just come in. I want to give you guys time because we got like 15 minutes. The studio said we got 15 minutes to go. Yeah, tell us about the election. We'll go in the second round. What is your take on the second round? And we're just talking about battleground states. Which state do you think will be a battleground state for this second round? And then from there we'll ask Jackie, and then we'll go around and then call it a show because the guy said we should go in about.
Definitely. I think Moserado County seems to be a battleground state. I don't want to call Bassa one because a lot of surprises happen out there in Bassa. I'm not sure what's going to happen in the runoff, but I'm just excited for the elections, man. And the Liberian people fired more than 42 lawmakers, and so I was encouraged that the Liberian people knows how to fire people who are not performing. But my concern
I don't know where they know how to fire because they brought back some fire people.
That's exactly what I was about to say. So they're firing people, and my major concern is those that they're replacing them with. So they're firing one worse leader for a bad leader, right? I mean, you got people like Alice Tyler, a former corruption king Kong or whatever, guy who has a terrible track record legislatively, now is going back to the House. So but I'm hopeful that at least they know how to fire people. What we need to start doing now is trying to educate them on firing people who are not doing well, and then replacing them with people who will do better than them. I think that's the problem we have in our country right now, because you can if you change the wine in from the bottle, it's the same old thing. You're definitely going to get the same results, and then we have to figure out another few more years for elections, or we got to replace the same guys, and we might replace them with some of the same folks we fired this election. We can't keep going in that circle, but I know the other guys got to come in, but I'm encouraged. I think that it's been peaceful so far. There's been some shortcomings with NEC. I'm seriously concerned with the massive delay in the reportings of these results, and I'm hoping that we can try to build our infrastructure where we can speed up. I mean, we should be knowing, I mean, for maximum 40 hours, who the next president is, or if this is going to a runoff. We should know that. And maybe we should also start looking at this idea of one round. Look, if the election is so close, right? Let's do it like we do for our lawmakers. This whole 50+1 thing is it's a lot of resources to get things from our people. If you don't have the numbers, it's 43 point whatever, then let that person be the next president. Let's hopefully we can take a look at that. But I think it's going to be close. I think that the opposition, especially the Unity Party, has its work cut off. Now they have to consolidate their base. I think a lot of damage has been done. You can't tell me that you don't need the 1% of CP or ANC. The election is so close. Every vote counts. Every vote will be critical. So they have a lot of work to do in the next 3 weeks, man. So let's see what happens. I will stop here and let Jackie come in.
Good to see you. Welcome. Even though we're running, but welcome, but Jackie, good to see you.
Thank you. Well, I didn't really listen. I just coming on, so I'm not sure what was discussed, what was not discussed. What's your question? What's the question on the floor? Peabody.
You just want your reflection on the election, the recent
reflection.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I'm amazed, and I'm sure everybody is amazed with the voter turnout. People turned out. People went to the polling places as early as 12 midnight, from what I heard from reporters on the ground. So the people were excited. They were motivated. So we see that. I hope that for the runoff, they will be just as enthusiastic, because now we only have two candidates in the race, Ambassador Boyka and President Weah. I hope they will be just as excited and show up to vote throughout the country. They did well. They showed up. There were some surprises in this race, as like we all see with the numbers that the first Appleton, who was number one, got, and also some of the places where Cummings fell. And a lot of people all over the place predicted that he was going to be in third place, Gonglo was going to be in fourth, or maybe there will be a swap between the two. And so those were some of the surprises as we saw the electoral results come out when NEC was announcing them. And also the invalid votes. For us to have over 114,000 invalid votes, that also is a concern. We really need to find out what really happened to those invalid votes. Yeah, there will be people who will vote wrongly, but that tells you maybe voter education is something for this second round that maybe we need to focus on even more, so that we reduce the percentage of the invalid votes. But all in all, the opposition, the people voted in the majority for the opposition. And I believe in the runoff, they will also vote for the only opposition who is left, who is Ambassador Boyka.
All right, great. Look, guys, we got 8 minutes. I want us to share this. I will take my time, 2 minutes each. So one last thing, we got a lot to talk about today, but we got 2 more minutes. I think they got another show coming up, so we need to go because we are on True FM, most of the station that we are on, so they have a program. But one thing I want you guys to chime in here. Your 2 minutes, you can chime in and do your closing. This appetite factor that is going wide like there. I want you guys to just chime in here, and what is the appetite factor? What's going on? I'll start with Mr. Russell first.
Okay, yeah. So I've talked about this so many times. I've even written about it. It's on my Facebook page. So if you've been there, you've seen it. There's nothing magical or strange about what happened with Appleton. What is happening is that, and I think Jackie referenced that a few minutes ago, that his order on the ballot, and maybe this would be a recommendation to Jackie for Unity Party to ensure, and it's very easy to do. So what happened is that the whole Appleton factor is that the way the NEC put the ballots together, the list. So we had about 20 candidates, right? And the list was advertised. So when you advertise the list, this is what happened, even in this country. So I will tell you something very quickly. I know we don't have a lot of time, Dr. Peabody, but I recently participated in elections here in America. I've always, all of the elections I've participated in. So during my election, for example, there were three of us. There were three candidates: last name Russell, last name Morrison, and last name Winston. So as opposed to doing an advertised process or use the advertised system, what we did was that, or what they did, I mean, and what is done in this country, they did an equality-based process. That means that no one person will have a sort of a natural advantage over the other person. So had they used the process that they used in Liberia in advertising the list, my name would have come second. The guy Morrison, M, would have come first. And Winston would have come third. But what they did was that in Brooklyn Park, for example, we have 25 polling stations. And so there were three candidates. So if you put if you divide 25 in 3 into 25, you put 3 into 25, my name came first 7 or 8 times within the 25 polling station. So in some polling stations, my name came in second. In others, my name came in third. And so it was randomly shuffled. So there was no one candidate who have an unfair advantage, because even in this sophisticated system, in this educated country, people would still just vote for the first name they see. And that's it. It's just that simple. So Appleton was the first name that was there on the ballot, and people just checked it and move on. I was on the ground. I heard a number of people saying, you know what, I don't have time. They did not even vote for representative. They just voted for president and left. So the first name they saw, they voted. And I see the same mistake is being made now with the candidates in the second round. So you see that Bwaka is the first name on at least the sample ballots I've seen. You see Bwaka is the first name on all the ballots throughout the country. And they should randomize them and shuffle them. So in some precincts and some counties, Bwaka will be first, in other, Wia will be first. And so that you can't give, or you don't give one particular candidate an unfair advantage. And that's just how it is done here. So had they done that, Appleton would not have had the sort of votes that he was able to garner. And added to that, his running mate name was Alex C. So all of that added to the confusion of a lot of voters. And I'm surprised that the ANC CPP did not catch that stuff. That's part of what it should have been part of the voter education. Get some sample ballots and educate the people. And and Jackie talked about voter education is going to be critically important in the second round, to do some really strong voter education sessions throughout the country. But that's what happened in the case with Appleton. So there was nothing magical or strange about what happened. It happened in this country. The first name people see, if you look throughout the country during the Trump and Biden election, Biden was not first on the ballot throughout the country. No, there were some places Trump was first. There were other places, Biden was first. And that's how it went throughout the country.
So can I say something real quick to that? Russell, what you're saying makes sense, but historically in Liberia, of course, everything is manual, and I can understand the electronic system here. But you always have had a first person on the ballot. You have always had that first candidate say, I'm number one on the ballot. I mean, in Liberia, I'm talking about in Liberia. So this stuff was never alarming until now. In 2017, JMB was number one on the ballot. You know, in 2011, somebody else was number one. I don't know if it was Charles Brumsky, number one because of B, or somebody else. So it seems like the logic you're saying makes sense. But then when you look at the trend in Liberia, you don't see where there was ever a cause for alarm as you're seeing now in this case. Because you have had different people along the way in our election who were always number one on the ballot and remain consistent throughout the country. And there was never a reason for alarm. Maybe
but that doesn't mean that now that it may not have happened.
We got no time. We got like 1.5 minutes.
Yes, let me just take a few seconds to say this. Mr. Russell, I listened to you very, very well, but that process is not applicable here in this country. Yeah. We've been from the get-go, the process from the recent new era of our democracy from 1997, 2005, 2011, 2017. It always been done alphabetically, right? The arrangement process being made. I may also agree with you in totality about the LHC process. I want to believe, but yes, those that voted for Appeton was not intentional. He didn't canvass to get the vote he got. It was not intentional. I want to believe it was inadvertent. Again, part of the reason why I thought most of our folks needed to do some serious voter education. The last election, 2017, Mr. Weah was also, I think it was 1819. So we are also down there, the rest of it. But again, yes, it will always have to be done alphabetically, and that's the process. And I mean, that it was. I think this is a blessing, but it was unfortunate for the situation. But it was not intentional that he got the vote he got.
Another thing that happened is his party name.
Thank you.
Let me just say something quickly.
Just quickly, his party name was also on WAPO.
1 minute.
So
1 minute.
I agree with.
He had two
Now we gotta go. The guys on my back.
Let me say something quickly. What Russell said, I agree with what Russell said. There is nothing impossible about randomizing the ballot. There's nothing impossible about it. You can randomize the ballot. It just simply means that there will be certain number of ballots that will be in a particular order, and certain numbers will be in a particular order depending on the number of candidates that you have. There's nothing wrong with it.
Our illiteracy rate is too hard for that. It's too hard,
Jackie. The only thing that would do is that then the candidates can no longer campaign using numbers. They can say, I'm number one on the ballot. You can't do that anymore. When you randomize it, there's no problem.
It will complicate things. It will complicate things.
It's a simple process.
I agree with you, Sylvester.
You don't want change.
And so
it will complicate things. It will be terrible.
Again, working in Nigeria right now.
No,
If we had a high literacy rate, yeah,
okay,
but not for like
right. Yeah, it will complicate things terribly.
Robert, 1 minute.
So I disagree 100%, Jackie. Don't say it can't work in Liberia. Anything can work in Liberia if properly implemented.
Yeah.
And we need
people just have to be educated.
We need serious public education.
Absolutely.
I think that candidates are being lazy when you cannot convince your voter as to who you are and who they should be voting for without the numbers. It's just crazy. If Russell is running and Russell is doing his due diligence and his campaign are doing what they need to do, there should be no reason why I go to the poll and vote for Lamy. And I'm thinking of voting for Russell because there's no numbers.
I think man's a vessel on the
okay.
same page with
And
that
so
one.
I do.
But I agree against two.
You want the same page?
So I do.
I agree with Mr. Russell as well.
So I do.
Yeah, I agree that you will randomize.
Man's a vessel on the same page.
So I do.
You said I fought against two.
So I do agree.
Listen.
So the UK and CDC on the same page. Imagine that.
Gotta go, man. Yeah, so I do agree.
Mr. Musa Hassan.
But Jackie, what are you interrupting me for?
I see his message. Wait, man.
No, don't do that, Jackie. Don't do that.
Congratulations to Musa.
I see his message.
Hold on.
Jackie,
We gotta
you
go,
have
Jackie.
not congratulated
So
me.
I want to
Musa
tell all Liberians to go out
Representative
there
elect,
for the runout
congratulations.
and actually
Why you
vote
disturbing
for
me,
your
Robert?
Jackie. I mean, don't have time to
Y'all
call
gotta
you.
go. The guy will come
Later
on,
on,
we
man.
gotta go.
We gotta go. So go out there. Are we on tomorrow?
Yeah, we're on tomorrow, definitely.
All right. Let me stop.
I don't want
We'll
to
be
be
on.
on sabbatical for the rest of the week.
No, we'll be on tomorrow. Come on,
All right.
come on, Jackie.
Okay, guys.
We
All
can't
right.
do this, guys. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Mr. Russell, Councilor Lamine,
Russell,
Jackie.
please come back tomorrow.
Yeah, please
Robert,
come back.
Robert, I thought you're on the ground.
Huh? I mean, I'm there.
Robert, I thought you're on the ground.
I
Robert,
ran out of
don't
break.
worry, Robert. Leave Robert.
All right, guys.
See you
guys,
guys.
man.
Jackie then.
Sylvester, we
Okay.
gotta
Have
get
a
you
good
the
night.
boxing ring.
Have a good night, guys.
All right.
Yeah, no, we did it. And then
Take it over, Steve.
Yeah,
That's
bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, guys. See you.
Bye.
Take it over, studio. We done.
Let your celebration begin with Park Liquor Outlet, your first Liberian-owned liquor store in the city of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. We have everything that you need to set that special occasion or bride. For your next party or great get-together with friends, visit Park Liquor Outlet. We have great selection of beer, wine, gin, and many more at affordable prices. Our customer service will make you always want to come back. We are open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Park Liquor Outlet, your one-stop celebration store. We are located at 6315 Zine Avenue North, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Visit us today and feel the difference. Let your celebration begin with Park Liquor Outlet, your first Liberian-owned liquor store in the city of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. We have everything that you need to set that special occasion or bride. For your next party or great get-together with friends, visit Park Liquor Outlet. We have great selection of beer, wine, gin, and many more at affordable prices. Our customer service will make you always want to come back. We are open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Park Liquor Outlet, your one-stop celebration store. We are located at 6315 Zine Avenue North, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Visit us today and feel the difference.
Many times when Liberians come to the States, driving becomes an issue for them. So the train coming here will give people the opportunity to find better jobs, to be able to move around easily, and will cut down some of the costs that we incur on ourselves. Some of the older people, we got people who have to go for them and bring them to buy their groceries. Now, they can do it on their own. The Blue Line coming to Brooklyn Park, especially where we are concentrated, will be a blessing to most of us. Many times when Liberians come to the States, driving becomes an issue for them. So the train coming here will give people the opportunity to find better jobs, to be able to move around easily, and will cut down some of the costs that we incur on ourselves. Some of the older people, we got people who have to go for them and bring them to buy their groceries. Now, they can do it on their own. The Blue Line coming to Brooklyn Park, especially where we are concentrated, will be a blessing to most of us. Many times when
news media or yellow journalists that we don't have a powerful support base is false and misleading. People want to benefit from their resources. People want to have a fair share of the resources. People want to have a say in who governs them in the counties. Instead of appointing in Monrovia and imposing leaders over the people, they want to elect their own people who will account and answer.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are.
When the issue